What if I told you that a confirmed change to the state pension could put an extra £6,000 into the pockets of millions of retirees across the United Kingdom? And that most people watching this right now have absolutely no idea it's coming? That's not a rumor. That's not clickbait. That is a real confirmed development that is already being talked about in Westminster, in pensioner advocacy groups, and in financial planning circles across England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. And yet, if you ask the average person on the street, even someone who is already drawing their state pension, the chances are they haven't heard a word about it. Now, here's what makes this particularly important. The date that this change affects is one that millions of people approaching retirement are already circling on their calendars. And depending on your age, your national insurance record, and a few other factors we're going to walk through carefully today, the impact on your retirement income could be genuinely life-changing. So if you are currently receiving the state pension, if you're within 10 years of retirement age, or if you simply want to make sure you're not leaving money on the table that is rightfully yours, you need to stay with me until the very end of this video, because what comes later may change the way you think about your retirement entirely. Before we go any further, if you find this kind of information useful, and I promise you today's content is some of the most important we've covered, please take 2 seconds right now to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. We cover state pension updates, benefits news, and retirement planning guidance every single week, and it costs you nothing to stay informed. Right, let's get into it properly. To understand why this £6,000 figure is generating so much conversation, we first need to take a step back and look at where the state pension currently stands and why so many pensioners across the UK are already feeling the strain before any changes even take effect. The full new state pension, as things stand, pays eligible recipients a weekly amount that has been rising year on year, largely because of something called the triple lock, a government commitment that guarantees the state pension rises every April by whichever is the highest of three measures: earnings growth, inflation, or 2.5%. For years, pensioners and retirees have relied on this commitment as a kind of financial safety net, a promise that however difficult things become in the broader economy, their pension income will at least keep pace with the cost of living. And the cost of living, as every single person watching this will know from their own weekly shop, their energy bills, and their day-to-day expenses, has been punishing in recent years. Heating a home through winter, affording fresh food, keeping up with prescription costs, transport, and the quiet but relentless drip of everyday expenses that adds up to far more than most people realize. For retirees on fixed incomes, every pound matters. Every percentage increase to the state pension is not an abstract number. It is real money that determines whether you can afford the heating or whether you have to choose between warmth and food. This is the context in which the £6,000 figure has emerged, and it's absolutely essential that you understand what it actually means before anyone tells you what to think about it. Here is the key thing. The £6,000 figure is not a one-off payment. It is not a lump sum being dropped into anyone's bank account on a single day. What pension analysts and financial commentators are referring to when they talk about a £6,000 boost is the cumulative additional income that many pensioners stand to receive over a defined period as a result of confirmed uprating to the state pension, combined with longer-term projections of how the triple lock will continue to work in their favor. When you take the confirmed April uprating, apply it over the course of a year, and then factor in the compounding effect of further projected increases in the years ahead, the figures, when added together, produce a cumulative benefit that analysts have described as being worth approximately £6,000 to many recipients when viewed across a multi-year window. Now, this is where things become especially important, and I want to be very clear with you here because I believe you deserve straight information rather than vague excitement. There is a distinction between what is confirmed and what is projected. What is confirmed is the April state pension increase, which under the triple lock has already been announced and is already being paid to recipients. What is projected, and this is where the cumulative £6,000 figure comes from, is the expected continuation of triple lock increases in the years ahead, which leading pension analysts and financial researchers have modeled out to show that over a roughly 5 to 6 year period from the current increase cycle, many pensioners on the full new state pension will have received an additional £6,000 or more compared to what they would have received had increases been frozen or significantly limited. If you're receiving the state pension and you've been wondering why commentators keep repeating this £6,000 figure without quite explaining where it comes from, that is your answer. It is not a single payment. It is the compound value of sustained triple lock increases modeled forward, and it is a genuinely significant figure. And here's something many pensioners still don't realize. The triple lock itself came very close to being scrapped or significantly watered down. There have been serious discussions inside government about whether the commitment is sustainable long-term, given the growing number of pension-age adults in the UK and the enormous fiscal cost of honoring the guarantee year after year. If the triple lock had been abandoned or replaced with a less generous mechanism, the difference in cumulative income for today's pensioners over the next several years would have been dramatic and deeply damaging. The fact that it has been confirmed and reaffirmed is genuinely significant news, not just politically, but in terms of actual money in actual pockets. What comes next may surprise you because the date that everyone keeps asking about is not just about when the next increase kicks in. It's about a broader timetable of pension policy decisions that will shape retirement income for millions of people in this country for the rest of this decade. The date most frequently discussed in pension planning circles is April 2026. That is the next scheduled state pension uprating date, and based on the triple lock formula applied to current earnings and inflation data, the increase that takes effect from that date is expected to be meaningful. Financial analysts who track pension policy have been pointing to April 2026 as the point at which cumulative increases begin to significantly outpace what many older forecast models had predicted, and it is this tipping point, combined with everything that came before it, that pushes the cumulative additional income figure into the range that analysts describe as approximately £6,000 over the relevant period. For someone who has been receiving the state pension for several years already, or who is about to begin receiving it, understanding this timetable is not just interesting background noise. It is the framework within which every retirement income conversation you have with a financial advisor, with a benefits advisor, or even within your own household should now be taking place. Let's talk about who benefits most, because this is not a uniform picture, and it's important to be honest about that. If you are receiving the full new state pension, which applies to those who reached pension age on or after April 2016 and who have 35 qualifying years of national insurance contributions, then you are in the group most likely to feel the full impact of sustained triple lock increases. The full rate applies to you in its entirety, and every percentage point increase translates directly into your weekly payment. If you are on the basic old state pension, which applies to those who reached pension age before April 2016, the picture is slightly different. You will still receive triple lock protection on the basic pension rate, but the structure is different, and the overall weekly amount tends to be lower, meaning the pound value of each percentage increase is smaller in absolute terms. There is also the question of pension credit, which is one of the most important but chronically underclaimed benefits in the entire UK welfare system. If your total weekly income from the state pension and any other sources falls below a certain threshold, currently around £218 per week for a single person, you may be entitled to pension credit, which tops your income up to that level and also unlocks a whole range of additional benefits, including help with housing costs, council tax, and in many cases, entitlement to a free TV license for those over 75. Hundreds of thousands of eligible pensioners are not claiming pension credit. If you're watching this and you're not sure whether you qualify, please, and I mean this sincerely, please take the time to check. The pension credit calculator on the government website is free, it takes less than 10 minutes, and it could genuinely change your financial situation. Now let's come back to real life for a moment, because big numbers and policy frameworks can feel abstract when you're sitting in your living room wondering how this actually affects you. Think about Margaret, a 71-year-old retired school dinner lady from Derbyshire, living alone, receiving the full new state pension. Every April increase, even one that seems small as a headline percentage, translates into real money across 52 weeks. An increase of even 4 or 5% adds up to hundreds of pounds per year. Across 3 or 4 years of sustained triple lock increases, she is looking at cumulative additional income that meaningfully offsets the rising cost of her energy bills, her food shopping, her occasional bus fare into town. That is not an abstraction. That is the difference between managing and struggling. Or think about David, a 64-year-old former factory worker from Glasgow who is 2 years away from pension age and watching these developments carefully to understand what his state pension will actually be worth when he starts drawing it. For David, the question is not just about the current uprating cycle. It is about whether the triple lock will still be in place when he reaches retirement and what the full new state pension rate will be at that point. Based on current projections and confirmed government commitments, the news for David is actually encouraging. This is where things become especially important for anyone in their early to mid-60s who has not yet reached state pension age. The decisions you make now about whether to defer your pension, about checking your national insurance record for gaps, about whether to make voluntary contributions to fill those gaps, could have a more significant impact on your retirement income than almost anything else you do between now and the day you stop working. Many pensioners still don't realize that you can check your state pension forecast for free using the Government Gateway on the gov.uk website. You can see exactly how many qualifying years of national insurance contributions you have, whether there are gaps in your record, and crucially, whether you are on track for the full new state pension or a reduced amount. If there are gaps, you currently have the ability to make voluntary Class 3 national insurance contributions to fill them. And in many cases, the return on that investment is extraordinary, with each year of contributions potentially unlocking hundreds of pounds of additional annual pension income for the rest of your life. The window to make those voluntary contributions has been a topic of some urgency recently, because the government has at various points discussed narrowing the number of years you can go back to fill gaps. If you have not yet checked your national insurance record, do it soon. Do it this week if you can. The difference it could make to your long-term retirement income is not trivial. What comes next in the broader pension landscape is a mix of confirmed policy and ongoing debate, and it is worth being clear about the distinction. The triple lock is confirmed for this Parliament. The April uprating cycle continues. The conversations about long-term pension reform, including proposals around means testing, auto-enrollment, and the future of the basic and new state pension structures, are ongoing but have not produced confirmed changes that affect current recipients in the immediate term. What this means practically is that for those already receiving the state pension, the outlook for the next few years is one of continued incremental improvement in the real value of their pension income, provided the triple lock remains in place and inflation continues to moderate. That is not a guarantee, no honest commentator will tell you it is, but it represents the most informed picture available based on current confirmed policy. For those approaching retirement, the message is to engage proactively with your pension forecast, consider your options around deferral if your circumstances allow for it, and make sure you understand every benefit and entitlement that you are eligible for. Because as we have touched on with pension credit, the gap between what people are entitled to and what they actually claim remains a serious and ongoing problem in this country. Now let's bring this all together, because I want to make sure you leave this video with a clear sense of what you actually need to know and what you need to do. The confirmed state pension uprating, the continuation of the triple lock, and the projected trajectory of pension increases through to and beyond April 2026 combine to produce a picture where many pensioners, particularly those on the full new state pension, will receive cumulative additional income that analysts place in the region of £6,000 over the relevant multi-year period, compared to scenarios where the triple lock had been reduced or removed. That is real money. It is the result of a policy commitment that was hard-won and remains under periodic political pressure, which is why staying informed matters so much. If you are currently receiving the state pension, your immediate action is simply to be aware of the April uprating and to make sure your payment reflects the new rate when it comes through. If it does not, contact the pension service. If you are approaching pension age, check your national insurance record, consider whether voluntary contributions make sense in your situation, and use the state pension forecast tool to understand exactly where you stand. If you are not sure whether you qualify for pension credit or other means-tested benefits, check. Do not assume. The process is straightforward and the potential gains are substantial. And if you found today's information useful, and I genuinely hope you did, I want to ask you something. Please share this video with someone you know who is retired or approaching retirement. Not everyone follows pension news closely, and some of the most important information never reaches the people who need it most. A quick share could make a real difference to someone you care about. Drop a comment below and let me know. Were you already aware of the £6,000 figure and how it was calculated? Are you checking your national insurance record? Is there a pension or retirement topic you'd like us to cover in a future video? I read every comment and your questions genuinely shape what we cover next. If you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss an update on state pension changes, retirement benefits, and everything else that affects your income and your financial well-being. This channel exists to make sure you are always informed, always prepared, and never caught off guard by changes that affect your retirement. We'll see you in the next one.